Is 28 years later as good as they're saying? Yes. Do you need to have seen any of the previous movies to understand it? No, but you should anyways. The 20 blank later franchise is a pretty underrated one. I had not seen it before, but I watched it in prep for this movie to kind of understand the vibe and understand what I was getting myself into. I just thought it was just going to be another run-of-the-mill zombie movie, but the series as a whole is very much not that. Fans even get a little bit annoyed by calling it zombies because they're technically not zombies, they're just infected. But the series as a whole is very, very different than the rest of it. How they get infected, you have to come in contact with your bloodstream. You have to either bite them or a drop of blood falls into your face or lips or eyes or whatever. That's how you usually get infected, or by bites as your typical zombie movies. But I think what really sets the series apart from the rest is how they interpret the chaos. Anytime an infected shows up, the way that is shot from the last two movies, it's very zoomed in and chaotic, and the camera shakes a lot, and it's very intimate into the infected's face, and it's very nasty and chaotic, very intensely chaotic. And it's actually the first two movies are really, really fun. They're more anxiety induced than like badass action. It's more of a run bitch run type of thing. So if you have not seen those two, you don't necessarily need it to watch this new film, but you should anyway, because those films are actually really, really fun. And the director of the first one is also the director of this film, and Alex Garland is who wrote the story, which Alex Garland's past stuff is more heady, is more heavy in the sense that it makes you think, it makes you reflect a little bit. This is very much not that. It's very, very simple story. It's been 28 years later since the first outbreak. The mainland in the UK has been completely quarantined, and where any humans left are, they're just fight for yourself, right? But off the shores of the mainland, there's a little island of this community of survivors that have built a little something for themselves. They go to school, they have their own little rules. Once you reach a certain age, you get to go to the mainland and hunt and get a first kill, and you go to school and they give you your jobs, or you're going to be a farmer, or you're going to go be a hunter or whatever. So the story picks up with Aaron Taylor Johnson, who his wife is sick, and they have a son, and the son has turned 12, and he's reached the age, well, he's a little bit younger, but he gets to go to the mainland and get some kills, starting to get the feel of this world. And once there, they start to discover some things, and the story starts to unfold. We start to learn a little bit more about the world as well. There's alphas now, there's big some bitches who are the leader of the hordes and everything. They're becoming a little bit smarter. Along with what comes really with these movies is there's a little sprinkle of interesting drama between the survivors. So that is very much there as well. I like that they use the formula of the past film to revamp it and reboot it basically, but it's still the same continuous world, and this movie doesn't feel out of place whatsoever. And like I said, the story is simple. They go out, they come back, then it kind of turns into an escort mission, like a very, very hard one, and it just keeps getting harder and harder and harder. But I wasn't sure what was going to happen the entire time. Those are the stories that really grip me. If it's too predictable, I get bored really fast, because that's just how my brain works. I'm trying to figure out how everything works. And here I was really trying to figure out, okay, now we're in this situation. How the hell are we going to get out of this? I was wondering who's going to live, who's going to survive. All that is really up in the air, because with zombies, you never know. You could just be having an over conversation and all of a sudden, recline on a chair and get bit and that character's dead forever. Sorry for calling it zombies. But I really like that the story is very simple. It's not convoluted with crazy scientists that are trying to get a cure. It's very just about this kid and his dad and his mom and what the community, and Ray Fiennes is there too, to the point that it affects probably even the sequels, which I'll get to in a second. But yeah, this movie is just simply good fun. Visually, it starts out like the old movies. The old movies have this blue tone to it, and I thought that the entirety of the movie was going to keep that, but that was just a flashback showing that moment in time. Then when we make a jump, it's still visually recognizable, but in a new modern way, which I really thought was really, really cool. But I really like the shots of the fauna and all the crazy overgrown trees and the forest and all that, what they're walking through and trekking through. It's very, very cool, but at the same time, it still has its very unique and way of making gross stuff. So there's like very fast, disturbing images, but it still has a puking and spitting into a camera from a low angle and very intimate thing that the 20 blank later series that I think it's known for, like those very intimate shots. You know, there's a ton of anxiety. You know, the run bitch anxiety is here, and it's even more anxiety inducing since the infecteds are chasing you with their cocks out most of the time, especially the alphas. God damn, got some knee slappers right there. And with that comes all types of death. You know, there's some cool death, some beautiful death, some funny death, or at least it was kind of funny to me. I don't think it was supposed to be funny, but yeah. You know, you get what I'm saying. In an infected / zombie movie, you really need all that to keep you entertained. And they do. All that's there. Like I said, that there's a uniqueness to the 20 blank later franchise. They brought something new this time around. Some of the camera shots are very much 2025 cool shit. Something that I don't think was missing, but was added in this movie specifically. There's just some really cool, awesome camera work with some of the kill shots. I'm not going to spoil what happens, but it's like video game-esque. You know, it's very, very cool. And it happens like the first kills, you know, and I thought it was going to be something that was going to linger and be throughout the whole film, which it will eventually become kind of overplayed, but it didn't. They knew when to do those, and it was just really cool. I did feel like the movie dipped a little bit in the second act, usually when there's a little bit of downtime, because there's a couple of downtimes, but this another downtime in the second act, I was kind of like, okay, what's going on? But then 2 seconds later, we pick right back up. Another scenario or another situation is brought into this world that these cast of characters have to deal with, and you're right back in and you're like, oh shit, what's going to happen? I don't think any of this would have worked if we had shitty acting, but we don't. The 28 blank later franchise, I feel like, is strong enough, especially with fans, that the name alone is going to sell tickets, I feel like, because it was just like, oh yeah, I knew that the 28 year later movie was coming out. I wasn't even paying attention as to who the hell is even in this movie. And we get, you know, pretty top of the line actors. Jodie Comer is in there. Ralph Fiennes, shout outs to Voldemort, is in there. Aaron Taylor Johnson, which is this is the first thing I've seen him since Craven. And this movie proves that Craven was not his fault whatsoever. Because he's a hunter in this, shooting bow and arrows and shit. And it's like, bruh, my guy is just a full-fledged action star. Like, the downfall of Craven is definitely not on him. But by far, I think that the star of the show was Alfie Williams, the little boy who plays the son. He was great. He's a kid, so he's like scared at times, and you really feel what's going on. And then there's some really, really heart-touching moments where you like really, really get you, you know? And his performance is great. Ralph Fiennes was great. I thought his character was a bit different than I was expecting it to be, but that's due to how the story was building him up, and the complete 180 of how the character was very interesting. I thought he was gonna be a villain, but he's not. He's really just a guy that's kind of out there, but he's got like a cuckoo mad scientist vibe to him. But the way he explains what he's doing and he explains his world is very gripping and entertaining, and you understand that character very, very quickly. And that's due to an amazing script and how Ralph Fiennes played the character. Of course, Jodie Comer is amazing in anything she does, so she was also very, very cool. But I think what hits with me with this movie is that they don't really try to do too much, or they don't try to get out of what the world that's been built in the past, if that makes any sense. It focuses on what it does best, and then it improves on that. Like, we're known for, you know, our infected and crazy inside intimate camera angles. So how do we improve on that? And they do. That is one thing that I can say that this movie brings to the franchise as a whole, is a way to keep, you know, this basically 20-plus-year-old franchise fresh in the 2025s now. And it very much does that. It improves and very much revamps the franchise. It's very fun. I recommend it 100%. The ending of the movie, I'm not going to call it a cliffhanger per se, because it answers all the questions that were planted throughout the movie, but it's a setup for a potential sequel, which I touched upon earlier. Unlike in other movies in the franchise, this sequel I think is going to follow this group of characters. I was trying to figure out what they were going to call it, but apparently it's been known that they're going to call it 28 years later, the Bone Temple. I was trying to figure out while the credits were rolling, are they going to call it 28 months later, 28 hours later, 28 seconds later? Like if it's a direct sequel, 28 seconds later was definitely, it's like a cheeky move. You know, I wouldn't be mad at it. That'd be kind of cool. But I'm excited for whatever comes next. I don't feel like this is going to be a huge box office breaker. Like it's not going to set records, but I feel like it should. It's a good enough movie that the quality is there for it to do so. If I was a diehard fan of the 28 blank later series franchise, I wouldn't be disappointed with this movie whatsoever. I feel like they respected the past two movies very well. They expanded on that world. They established new interesting characters and made the world bigger and evolved it. I think it's called 28 Days Evolve. No, that was the Evolve thing was just in the Spanish, my bad. Even if you've not seen the first two movies, this is, I think, the beginning of another trilogy, and it still works as the first movie of a trilogy. Even if you haven't seen the other two, it still works as a standalone movie. They explain everything very well. It's very easy to understand. Infected blood is bad. Your blood touched bad blood, you become infected, aka zombie, and get naked for some reason. But if you have not watched the first two, I still recommend that you do, but you can walk in the theater and enjoy this movie still that way. And if you're a fan, I feel like you already saw it, so let me know what you think down in the comments. Does the 28 year later movie live up to the name? Do you think it fits? Do you liked it? Do you enjoyed it? Any and all thoughts regarding to a 28 year later movie? Let me know down in the comments. It's hard to say. 28 year later. And while you're down there, if you enjoyed this review, let me know by dropping a like and subscribing to the channel for more videos like this. Thank you guys for watching. Remember to always and forever, you do you.